We have a serious problem with how we hire engineers. Right now, most companies are incredibly efficient at finding candidates, but terrible at figuring out if those candidates can actually code. This creates a trap where businesses end up paying twice for every single technical hire. First, you pay recruiters, agencies, and job boards thousands of dollars just to source a massive pile of resumes. Then you spend hundreds of hours of your own expensive engineering time trying to determine whether any of those people can actually do the job. You see a list of certifications, 10 years of experience, and a few prestigious company names on a PDF, but those signals routinely fail to prove practical skill. Someone can work at a massive tech firm for 5 years and still struggle to deploy a functional machine learning model. Beyond the recruiter fee, the true damage comes from pulling senior developers off critical sprints for endless technical interviews.
When you add in delayed product launches and the financial hit of a bad hire, the actual cost of recruitment noise becomes staggering. The traditional recruiting industry has optimized the top of the funnel. They can give you limitless volume, but they offer almost zero guarantee of bottom-of-funnel competence. To understand why this happens, look at how fragmented the standard technical hiring process is. This diagram compares two different hiring pipelines. On the left is the traditional model. You pay a fee, search for candidates, screen resumes, conduct interviews, attempt to verify skills, and finally make a hire. Every single arrow in that sequence represents a handoff. It requires coordinating external agencies, internal HR, technical interviewers, and background check platforms. That friction stretches out timelines and drains your internal resources. On the right side, we see an alternative approach built by a platform called ExpertOnHire. Their pipeline consolidates this entire sequence. It flows directly from the business need, through matching and validation, straight to hiring and delivering. This works because it integrates AI-assisted sourcing directly with structured technical assessments. Talent discovery and technical evaluation happen in the exact same step, before the candidate ever reaches your team. By consolidating the pipeline, your business no longer has to manage candidate quantity. You simply acquire verified capability. Think about how most hiring starts today. You feed a job description into an applicant tracking system, and candidates submit keyword-optimized resumes designed to bypass the filter. The immediate result is a massive surge of candidates who look flawless on paper, matching every technology you asked for. But this volume comes with a severe trade-off. It creates immense recruitment noise, heavily loaded with false positives. This forces your senior engineers to least crucial project hours. They end up sitting in technical interviews with people who, despite a great resume, fail basic coding challenges in the first 10 minutes. Companies usually try to solve this volume problem by hiring a traditional recruitment agency. The agency takes over the initial search and shortlisting, but the core problem remains completely untouched. Your company still bears 100% of the burden and risk for evaluating technical capability.
Relying on keyword matching and traditional agencies might solve the sourcing problem, but they entirely fail to solve the most expensive problem, capability verification. We can measure the true cost of these hiring methods by balancing the internal effort they require against the actual technical relevance of the candidates they produce. This quadrant chart maps that out. The horizontal axis represents the internal effort required from your team, from low to high. The vertical axis measures the relevance and actual technical capability of the candidate. Job portals land down here in the high-effort, low-relevance quadrant. They require endless manual filtering of mostly unqualified applicants. Traditional agencies sit in high-effort, medium relevance. They provide slightly better lists, but leave that persistent internal vetting burden completely on your shoulders. Now let's look at a unified capability platform like ExpertOnHire, which combines AI matching with structured technical assessments. ExpertOnHire plots in the low-effort, high-relevance quadrant. Because the platform evaluates candidates through pre-validated portfolios and practical skill tests before you see them, your team's effort drops drastically. There is a trade-off to this model. To make it work, your organization must be willing to trust a third party's technical evaluation standards, rather than relying solely on your own custom coding tests. Moving to this optimal quadrant requires giving up total control over the initial vetting process. In exchange, you get massive gains in hiring speed and internal efficiency. Every hiring decision is an investment in business value. When a process successfully converts a budget into a functional team, you aren't just filing resumes, you're building the engine that ships your product.
So, which types of organizations actually benefit most from adopting a unified capability platform like ExpertOnHire? This scorecard matrix breaks it down by looking at the different priorities between agile teams and massive organizations. On the left, we have startups and SMEs, and on the right, enterprises. For startups and SMEs, budgets are tight and dedicated HR departments often don't exist. More importantly, a single bad technical hire can cripple product execution, making this platform an ideal fit. This model specifically saves a startup CTO from losing 15 hours a week administering technical interviews to people who aren't a fit. For enterprises, the major pain point is fragmented recruitment. They have to coordinate multiple job portals, agencies, and internal assessment tools. By unifying these steps, enterprises can tap into a pool of pre-verified talent, allowing them to maintain strict technical consistency even as they scale rapidly. However, if your organization requires highly niche, proprietary technical screening that a standardized third-party assessment cannot accurately measure, you should avoid this platform. When candidate volume stops being a metric of success, organizations can shift their entire hiring budget toward verified capability. It's the difference between managing noise and securing the talent that actually builds the business.